Hello, good afternoon, welcome back to the Fishlocker out on the boat. We are doing our very best to avoid all these squalls. I'm going to go and find them pots. Yeah. Let's go. Look at that. Well, there's a bit of life in that one. Come on. Oh. Wow. Well, there's a lot to talk about in here, and it's just as the squall's coming on. I'll try and be quick. First one to discuss, you'll have seen, get that. I'll show you what's happened down there. You can't see, can't even lift the pot. Got ya. Yeah. Just gonna wipe that lens. Fighting a losing battle, I'm afraid. Yeah, where? I don't know if you can see around me, but that squall has found me. In this pot we have one of the usual suspects. We might have a couple of seconds of a dry lens. Right, first pot. Yep. The usual suspects. This is actually quite a fancy looking one. Octopus, big old bullhuss. Two bullhuss in fact. Oh, look. These are bullhuss, these are greater spotted cat sharks, nurse hounds. In the other pot we have some dogfish. I will stick one of these down inside the boat, release one and compare it with the other ones to show you the difference. But we also have a female spider crab. The bait that I baited these pots with last time has reflected in the captures. I've talked about this in other videos before. I'll clear all these starfish out. We have quite a few Spanish starfish in this one. Yeah. I've been experimenting with the ground that I've been putting the pots on to try and get away from the octopus. I still want to catch crabs and lobsters, but I don't want to catch octopus. So I've been moving it about, trying to find patches where there aren't the octopus. and I've been using different types of baits. Usually for lobsters, I'll just use like salted mackerel or stinking rotten bait. I put fresher bait in. I put 2 wrasse I'd caught and a mackerel and a bit of fish that I had in the freezer, and it got freezer burnt, so I was using it up. So baiting the pots with fresh fish has resulted in an awful lot more cat sharks. I've explained this in other videos before about dogfish. I've used dogfish as bait in these pots quite a few times, and I try and tell folks, I was like, there's millions of them, there's thousands of them on the ground everywhere. This shows you in one pot, well, there are that many. Try and count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dogfish and 1 tiny brown edible crab. So yeah, 8 doggies in one pot. And this is the pot that I actually put some of the fresh fish into, like the fresh mackerel and that. So using fresh bait in pots, as I've tried to explain to folks before, doesn't work very well. They need to be like stinking and rotten. Otherwise all you do is catch cat sharks. Now I am gonna like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll knock half of them on the head and I'm going to rebait the pots with them. It shows you there's absolutely no shortage in them. And in the final pot, again, another dogfish. But we also did get, there we go, 2 little lobsters. So we are in the right place, so to speak. Both of these, yeah, both of these are undersized. This one here is minute. Yeah, it is a little male. To give you some type of example of how big this guy is, he is, yes, it isn't a male, about 3mm undersized. You need to measure from the back of the eye to the back of the carapace, the back of the hard part there. You don't measure from the top of the horn, which I've seen some people doing. Back of the eye, back of the carapace. In another shed of his shell, so probably next year this guy will be big enough to keep. Unfortunately, we are still feeling the aftermath of the octopus invasion throughout the year. Yeah. Of the few lobsters that are left, there's not many that are big enough. It's just being quite honest about it. Yeah, I'm going to rebait these pots. In fact, actually, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference. I'll put this pot down. This is a bullhuss. This is a dogfish. This is a greater spotted cat shark. This is a lesser spotted cat shark. Now, you can tell by looking down on top of their heads, the greater spotted cat shark has got a much wider head at the top. Like across the back of here, their head is much wider. Also, as you look underneath, these nasal flaps here indicate that this is a bullhuss, whereas dogfish don't have those nasal flaps. Dogfish max out at about £4. Bullhuss max out at about £20. So yeah, if you've caught one that's £8, it's a bullhuss. But small bullhuss and big dogfish can be mistaken. This one is a really dark one, a really dark male. You can see the claspers there. They are really tough, like super hardy. They live rooting about in the rocks, and they're also part of the intertidal zone as well. They have absolutely no problem sitting out of water for 5-10 minutes and just like, well, like that one's just so yeah, these dogfish, I'm going to knock all these on the head and I'm going to rebait these pots in. Yeah. We're in the right place, we're catching less octopus, we're just experimenting, and eventually I'll get it right. And the rain stopped, so there's a plus too. Saying that though, we've got another, show you, we have got like another one on its way. I better hurry up. Let's get out of here before this rain starts again, because it's coming. Let's go and see about pulling these pots. Oh, come on. Oh, pick on. These pots have been in the water for 24 hours. I hauled them and shot them back yesterday. All the baits in them are absolutely immaculate. Still fresh, which is why they haven't fished right. And this is as much to prove to everybody who thinks they're a smart aleck. So you need to haul them every day to stop the octopus from getting in them. And I've tried to say, I was like, the pots don't fish effectively in 24 hours. I'm telling you, like, I'm not a dipstick, I've done this a few times before. These pots have not fished effectively. Nothing in this but starfish. This one here has got that bait's still fresh. That bait's still fresh, look. We have one little tiny prawn. Bait bag is still completely immaculate. There is the damage. That was a great sized female, well over minimum. Female lobster there. Just and it's these that are doing it within 24 hours. Yeah. Any other bright ideas? Get these pots rebaited and shot back somewhere else. These are the pollock frames from a wrecking session. Clean down time and home. Be clogging up the bilge pump. Yeah. This one is a really lively one. In no time at all, these are in the pots and they're eating everything. Doesn't matter where I seem to try and work them or what baits I use, they're just after it. We have an absolute stunner of a day and hoofing great tides. The clarity is spectacular considering. I don't know whether you can see that. You can see all the kelp and everything on the bottom, and we're in 7 metres of water. Go and see if we can't find these pots. You don't get days like this very often this time of year. Should have the wetsuit on really. Nope. That explains it. To kind of show that not everything you do and not every time you do it is a winner. Starfish, 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 more starfish, millions and millions and millions of starfish. Yeah, in this pot alone there's probably going to be 25. In this pot. Yeah. And then in this one, that's what we have. I thought to myself, yeah, one empty one, yeah, it happens. Two empty ones in a row, it's looking a bit suspicious. Get to the third one, there's one of them. They are relatively smart, I mean, I'll give them that. They're not stupid, but in that lies the frustration, because all they'll do is they'll start at one pot, move along the rope, go into the next pot, move along the rope. So yeah, I got it eventually, but it does mean that we have had a complete clean sweep. Yet again, another one of these. Not what we want. I want lobsters, I don't want octopus. You're not helping yourself. I have been trying my very best to work different areas of ground. I do that normally just so that I don't pressure the same bit of ground too much. Moving it around constantly over an area of probably maybe 3 miles of coastline and within a mile of the shore. And sometimes you land it right, sometimes you don't. This time I think a culmination of two things. I think we were just off the mark and there's still a few octopus around. I can tell we were off the mark, I can tell we weren't in the proper ground just because we're getting thousands of these starfish. The last haul of the pots was very similar. Good baits, good pots, just not in the right location. I'll finish clearing the rest of them out, I'll rebait them and we'll shot them back somewhere else. I think I'm going to try somewhere really, really rocky and a little bit deep. Yeah. Hopefully those will fish a little bit better. Blimey, that is a big old piece of metal. Yeah. I've just on my way out to go and get the pots, but I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking, if that's got a lot of light on it, on a night, there'll probably be a lot of squid round here. I might bring Hannah and James out for a go at some squid. That is a big old lump. I'm imagining there's going to be a bit of swell out there today, so yeah, I'm readying myself for it. Let's go. Well, I was right, it is a little bit sloppy, and just to make it even better, the rain is on its way. For anybody wondering, this is why I don't work my pots all year round. We're coming to right towards the end of the season now, just because the conditions make it almost impossible for someone like me that's not a commercial guy, it's not a commercial boat, that hauls them all by hand, to get out to get the pots. And when a lot of this bad weather comes in for a while at a time, they jam your pots up into the rocks and they get stuck and you end up losing them. Yeah, it's just, we have not got long left of our season. Let's just hope we can make the most of the last of it. Last one. That last one, that last pot there, flipping heck. You might have noticed the bait that I'm using in these pots. It is dogfish. You might have heard me mention this before a few times. They're not the best bait for the lobster pots. Like they take 2 or 3 days. They only really start fishing well when they start going rotten, and it takes 2 or 3 days for that to happen. But yeah, it's free bait, it's good bait to get them baited with. We'll get them all baited up. I've got plenty of dogfish to bait these with, and then we'll get them shot back in a different area. But dogfish doesn't work right unless it's rotten. So it takes a couple of 3 days to be able to start fishing properly. Yeah, the bait in these pots, it's fishing, it's started to fish, I can see, because they're getting chewed up. But they've been out now since these have been 5 days soaking, and the bait is only just properly working. So when I've tried to say to people before about hauling these pots, and they go, no, you should haul them every single day. This is another reason. This bait in here has been in here for 5 days now, still immaculate. Well, no, it's 4 days. This is the 5th day. You know who that is. We're into November and the temperature has dropped, and yet there are still these octopus around. I don't think this is going to be a temporary thing. I think these guys are here to stay. Getting that tub, yo. Yeah. Spiny starfish, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and some stones. $11, 12, 13, 14 spiny starfish, and the carcasses of a load of doggies, and a cuckoo wrasse. Let go. They're still here in numbers. Look at them. Now what can you do against that? I moved them to a completely different set of ground, pardon you, to try and get away from these things, and yet they're still everywhere. There is, I think there's 3 in this pot. 3 in this one pot here. There's 1, there's 2, and big old number 3. Yeah. Look at him. Get these pots rebaited and shot back. But yeah, like these doggies, you can see, look, the bait's just starting to work proper. This is something that I got from Troy, or Trodge. There's a lad who's got a YouTube channel called Troy, who's over in the Channel Islands. When he catches octopus, he sticks them in a sack. Flipping heck. What? Oh, come on, stop being a... Getting that bag, yo. Got you now. Put them in a chum bag instead. That is it, that is literally how much octopus there is. Try them there. Clean down now. It's been a couple of days. Let's go and find these pots. That'll go. Whew, well, that makes a change. Whew, well, that move to a new spot seems to have paid off. First pot to come up, I was thinking, oh no, more of the same. Yeah. This first pot that came up, it's got nought in it but a couple of crabs. A velvet swimming crab, a male brown edible crab, and a little spider crab. One of each. This bait in here, these dogfish, is starting to properly working out. You see, it's mentioned before, so it only starts to really fish when it starts going rotten. Yeah, that's working really well now. And a spiny starfish. Yeah, not much to show for the first one. Fortunately though, the second two have done really well. In this pot we have a couple of stunning lobsters, but I do think that one of them we are going to have to put back. First one out is a lovely female. That is well over the limit. This is the first one in a while because of all the octopus that we've been having. Yeah, we haven't had a lobster in quite a while. That's brilliant. But the next one, the bigger one in there, looking at her, she does have a lot of eggs underneath. Like, she's an absolute beauty. Like, the size of her. That's got to be at least 110 mil. You call that a hen lobster. Female lobster, you call them a hen. A male, you call them a cock. And they carry their eggs underneath their tail like that and protect them. Now, I'm going to drop her down in this bucket beside me because we are going to V-notch her and put her back. I'm just going to put her aside for a minute. So, 2 sized lobsters in one pot. That's brilliant. And a cheeky little velvet. And the last pot, again, that move has really paid off. First one out is a cheeky little prawn. That is a little male lobster, well undersized, but lovely to see. The next one out is another absolute cracker. Another monstrous great lobster of, yeah, probably 105. So yeah, that move was absolutely the right thing to do. And it just goes to show that there are still some around, even though those octopus have been wreaking havoc all year. So we've ended up with 3 sized lobsters here. 2 of them I'm legally allowed to keep, and the buried hen I'm going to V-notch and put her back. We'll stick all of these aside. You're best not really putting them all in the same tub unless you can put bands on them straight away, because they will end up fighting. So yeah, I'm going to put this lovely lady in a bucket. We'll get all these pots sorted. We'll get them rebaited and shot back, and I'll talk to you about that buried hen. What I'm going to do is the 2 lobsters that I can keep, I'm going to band their claws. All I do is just take a normal elastic band, turn it over 3 or 4 times and slide it onto the claws. Because their claws are super strong closing but not opening, so yeah. This one has actually only got 1 claw, it still needs banding though. These 2 are happy enough in a bucket. Can't fight with each other now, so there's no drama. In fact, I don't know if you can see where this one's been missing a claw. It's just started to grow it back. The real star of the show, this big hen here. She is carrying a lot of eggs. You don't need to worry about them falling off, because they coat them in an enzyme, causes them to stick to their tail. They start off like dark green. This is a dark green. I'll get my other camera out and I'll try and show you, because they start off really dark green and then they go black, and then they go red and black when they're ready to hatch, and then they come off. And when they're ready to come off, she'll release another enzyme that allows them to detach, and they just drift away. thousands of them. Anybody who's watched these videos before will have already heard me talk about this. But around the UK we have what's called a V-notching scheme. And that means that you mark the tail of a proven breeding lobster with a V. You just snip it into it. This lobster has eggs, so I know that she's a proven breeder. You're not allowed to land a buried hen in Cornwall. So I'm going to protect her with a V-notch so that even when she's shed her eggs, you still can't land her. It allows you to maintain a breeding stock of lobsters on the ground at all times. All you do is, actually, I'll show you really quickly. A V-notch is a V in any one of these 5 tail fans. That's what the bylaw says. If you're going to V-notch a lobster, you should only have a V-notch that one or that one. And all you do is you just snip it like that. Didn't even flinch. That little V there will protect her now until it grows out, which could be 3 or 4 more years. Do one more for good luck on either side. What a stunner. Just grab me with the camera. There's her brand new pair of V-notches. There and there. And if we gently turn her over, you can see all those eggs. Now that I've given her these V's, she's safe to be put back. And even when she's dropped her eggs, she'll still be safe on the ground. Away you go, love. Right, what a fantastic way to end. This might actually be one of our last hauls of the lobster pots for this season. What a way to finish. I hope you enjoyed joining us. I hope you found it interesting. All the very best. See you later.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the Fishlocker YouTube channel, where we have hundreds of videos from our adventures just like this one. We upload new videos every Sunday evening, so don't forget to click subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Let's go.